things that we think about, that we fear, that we get mad at, don't even happen. Things that we think about that are negative, that we're constantly thinking about, don't even happen in real life. I've seen this over and over with investors. Well, they'll bring a scenario like, "Whoa, this is not gonna do this," or "the city is gonna say this or that," and it doesn't even happen. The crazy thing is, as an investor, uh, there's less stress whenever I do my own stuff, and all those imaginary stuff don't happen.
On my $1 million hustle. It's the $1 Million Hustle Podcast, where we keep it real, I stated entrepreneurship wisdom. Learn to think like a millionaire and hustle like you're broke. Here's your host, Billy the Kid, aka Billionaire. Think like a millionaire and hustle like you broke. This free game to change your life, you better so. Think like a millionaire and hustle like you broke.
Welcome to the $1 Million Hustle Podcast, baby. It is your boy Billy the Kid, aka BDK. And today I have a very special guest. It is me. I'm your special guest. But on a serious note, today I want to get a little more in detail when it comes to the construction business, being a contractor. So those of you who maybe aspire to be a contractor, maybe you are already a contractor and you want to get better, I hope to give you some pointers, some advice, some stuff that I've learned along the way. And then also, if you're an investor, maybe this will help you understand a contractor better as well. I am an investor myself. I am a contractor myself. So, and guys, the thing is, being a contractor takes a lot. And actually, you know what? Let me put this hat on. Let me put this hat on because it is not for the weak, guys. Being a contractor is not for the weak. I'm going to tell you that right now. So, if you're interested in becoming a contractor, or if you've already tried being a contractor, you guys will find out real quick. It is not for somebody who is weak minded. There's a lot of stuff that come with being a contractor. And I'm gonna give you guys a few things, and like I said, I am an investor. Let's start with that, because I have had my share of working with other investors. Some have been amazing, and then some have not been so great. As far as the actual dealings, right? Like the handshake and taking back and all that. We're gonna talk about that right now. So the first thing I wanted to point out, and it is crazy because I started off earlier by saying how investor contractor, right? So uh, I chose to wear this hat. I chose to become a contractor. I love it. To me, it's art. To me, seeing the before and afters of these places, and just even if it's just some roof that you're doing, and it is like an art to me. Tile, siding, and obviously if you do some flipping, if you own some rentals, you see the before and afters. Maybe a kitchen remodel, a bathroom, new builds. All those are fun to watch. I love that. I love art. I consider myself a creator, guys. I am a creator, meaning that I love to create things. So that's why I fell in love with the construction business. And that's the number one thing, is you got to love it, because there's a lot of investors out there that have taken that role of becoming a contractor. And if you're micromanaging the project like that, then you're not letting your contractor do their job. So please give some space to these contractors, guys, because we have the experience. We have seen what colors are popping right now, right? With paint, we'll say, even just if you just want to paint a living room or whatever it is, uh, there's certain things it's a lot of opinion based for a lot of customers because they just like the color, right? And that's it. Well, cool, fine. But if you don't know, if you're not too sure, take that ego out and listen to your contractor. And obviously make sure you hire the right contractor because there's a lot of contractors out there too that are acting like they're contractors and they have nothing to show for. There's no resume, right? So make sure that that's the first thing that you do. But once you hire the contractor, let them do their job. Up, back up. Let them do what they do because uh, it's just a mess when you have because you got to remember a contractor is basically a project manager, guys. Like they are managing, we are managing different people, different crews that are getting different things done. And if you're in the contractor's ear, telling them what to do and micromanaging them, there's been times where, as a contractor, you know what comes first, right? Like, for example, HVAC should go first before plumbing, right? So there's a nugget if you didn't know that. Make sure that you let them do that. Don't sit there and try to push that you want this HVAC done, or I'm sorry, this plumbing done, or all this other stuff before the first step. It is a puzzle. Let the contractor build that puzzle. And it, it's funny because it just makes me think of there's sometimes guys, and I get it. It is business, right? Like there's money involved. You want to do the cheapest job possible, and I cannot stand that word, but I also understand it as an investor, right? Because I am an investor myself. So I understand that you want to spend the least amount of money. Totally get it. But also, if that's your first thing, if that's why you're mad at your contractor because things change, especially once you're in it, like if things change, it is what it is. Like if the sewer line is broken, like how did you not know that, right? Like how was the contractor supposed to catch that unless you ran cameras from the beginning? But at the very beginning, be mad at yourself for buying wrong. As an investor, guys, a piece of advice would be you make your money when you buy the piece of real estate. That's when you make your real money, not when you sell it. You do not make your money when you sell the real estate. You make your money when you buy it. And if you bought it wrong, it is not your contractor's fault. So take some accountability with that. But if there's a lot of scenarios, but one scenario that I want to point out is there's times where the investor might say, "Hey, I'll buy the materials." Totally fine. It is okay. Just know though that if you are doing that, it's not as easy as it sounds. It is not as easy as it sounds because there's a lot of things that come with that. So, for example, and it could be in any job, guys. Like we'll say even roofing. The thing is, as a contractor, you normally order more material than needed, knowing that you're gonna return some of it, and that's just a thing. Like most contractors do that, and so if you have an investor that's just penny scratching, penny pinching, and just trying to save all these pennies and all that, they might go buy less material, and then and I've seen this before where the order, we'll give the order of materials like, okay, cool, you want to get the materials, that's fine, and then they end up getting less, thinking that somehow, some way, the contractor is gonna make magic and appear material out of nowhere. I don't know what the thought process is behind that. There's also you actually have to buy a percentage more just for waste, guys. Like if you're putting flooring down, there's gonna be waste. Drywall, there's gonna be waste. Like not every piece can be used a lot of times. And I think a lot of people fail to think about that. Roofing, like siding, there's gonna be waste. So are you factoring in 8%, 10% of waste? Most Investors are not. So, with that being said, guess what happens? There's going to be issues at the end where you might have to go to the store 3 times for that one item because the first one didn't fit, then the second one this or the third one that. That's just behind the scenes things that contractors know are bound to happen and we deal with them. But investors are not used to that. So guess what? You go twice to the store for the one little item that you're trying to find and it could just be something simple, guys. It could be just a screw, to be honest with you. And there goes 5 hours of your day, 3 hours of your day, just going to the stores, box stores, or just any supply stores. And th- I think that that's the biggest thing is, are you willing to do that? And most people don't understand that. Most investors, most customers don't understand that. That's just behind the scenes stuff that happens. But if you did it the right way, if you ordered that waste percentage, order more just to order more because it's better to have it there and return it. The thing is, we also know that there's going to be a return. Here's the thing, too. There's also, you can't just expect to buy a tub, we'll say, and you expect your contractor to deliver that. That could be an hour of the contractor's time, 2 hours, 3 hours, guys. Like it could technically take that long just to go grab a tub and take it to the job site. Again, we signed up for that. As a contractor, we know that's what it takes. And it is okay because we know the job will get done and that's just part of the process. But as an investor, as a client, as a customer, you might not be used to that. So let the contractors do their work. You know, it's funny. There was uh, a story going around where basically the contractor gave the price to the customer, right? Like, oh, okay, you want to, and we'll just say the customer wanted to remodel a kitchen. So, hey, Mr. Customer, here is the kitchen remodel proposal, right? And the customer said, and actually, you know what? Let me back up. Let me just say a door. We'll just keep it simple. We'll say the customer's trying to get a door installed, and we'll say interior. It could be either, but exterior or interior. But we'll just say a simple interior door, and it looks simple, right? Like I think nowadays with YouTube, anybody can do it, right? Well, here's the thing: the customer starts asking the contractor, "Hey, why is this so expensive?" Right? I can do that, right? Like I can just Google it or I can YouTube it and just put the door in, right? And the funny thing behind that is that at that point, you know, the contractor's like, you know what? Yeah, uh, I'll come do the labor only, right? So then at that point, uh, the contractor's like, just have the door here. Yo, we'll be right back to this great episode of the $1,000,000 Hustle podcast. Before we continue, I want you to go grab a copy of my book, The Power of Being Uncomfortable. It is out on Amazon, it is out on Barnes & Noble, Walmart.com, Target.com, and everywhere else books are available. The great news, guys, is you could go to BillyTheKid.com and grab an autographed copy. That is right. I'm going to mail you an autographed copy right now. Audiobook is also available on Audible and everywhere else audiobooks are available. So go listen to it, go grab yourself an autographed copy, and I'll see you on the other side, baby. And now back to this great episode of the $1,000,000 Hustle podcast. Well, and then at that point, the customer's like, well, I don't have a truck. So that's step number one, right? Like you don't have a truck. So how are you going to get the door here? Who's going to pay for that hour of bringing that door to the job site? But even further, let's say that the contractor agrees to go help the customer on the weekend, right? And the door gets delivered. Well, you got to pay a delivery fee for the most part, right? From any box store, etc. You got to rent a truck. And then at that point, the customer asks, well, do you have the tools to get this done? Well, guess what, guys? There goes more. Like, do you know how much it is to go rent some tools? And meaning that most contractors already have those tools. But if you don't have it, you have to go rent one as a customer. And so you start adding all these things up. So does it really make sense to sit there and argue with your contractor? Because at that point, and then not to mention, guys, like let's get down to the nitty gritty, like the experience at the end. That customer has never changed the door when the contractor has done it thousands of times. So there's an experience factor there. And be mindful of that whenever you try to talk down prices with contractors, and I see that over and over. I'm gonna tell you guys, and this has happened a few times, sadly, because I don't wish bad on anybody, of course, for sure, because at the end that's just bad karma for me. But they maybe I'll give them an estimate, proposal. It's a full flip, right? That the investor's working on, and guess what? They chose to do it themselves. Like, and this has happened, guys, a few times where they might have already accept the proposal, and it's happened multiple times to me where they have accepted the proposal and they given me a deposit, and then they back out and say, "Well, I found somebody cheaper to do this, and then somebody cheaper to do that. You were good here, you were good there, right, etc." But the funny thing about that is that you contractors, we hear that all the time, like, oh, the contractor ran with my money. Even when that has happened to me, uh I either A, have given the money back, or B, because we have a contract in place, guys, like at that point, and I don't have to do this. Like, truly, we signed the agreement that clearly states it, that if you cancel, that's on the customer, right? Well, I still deliver whatever amount they paid up worth of services. So, as like I can tell you guys, nobody can ever tell me that I owe them money, that I ran off with their money as a contractor. And now, is there people like that? Of course. Like, that's what I said at the beginning. Make sure you do your homework on who you hire, the experience, and because here's the thing too. Like, contractors are not perfect, guys. Like, I've made my mistakes. Uh, we make mistakes, like just like any business. You go to McDonald's right now and order a cheeseburger, and they're gonna mess it up. Guess what? You're gonna be back to McDonald's. You're not gonna go uh, point fingers at the small business owner, right? Like me, and crucify them. You're gonna go back to McDonald's. But for some reason, small businesses get that treatment where, uh, oh man, point fingers, this and that, and like I said, we make mistakes. We also own up to them. In my company, we own up to our mistakes, and that's just part of our um, policies here. Like, we own up to it. The thing is, like, especially construction guys, like there's gonna be mistakes. That's just part of the business. But uh, the the point of it is, nobody can sit here and tell me that I took their money, or blah blah blah. Again, do your homework before you hire somebody. But because it does happen, I've met and seen people that have gotten that treatment before, and of course, like, I don't condone to it, because I don't understand it. I don't do it. Um, so just imagine that, like, I'm 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 giving your money back, A, or B, I'm giving you X amount of work and completed tasks to make up for for the money that you agreed on, that now you are backing out on. But that's not the point. The point is, so boom, here's your check, or boom, here's the services. All right, cool, handshake. I'm not mad. That he who gets mad loses. That's just part of any business. So don't get mad. I don't get mad. Good luck. But you know what's crazy, guys, is that when that's happened, honestly, and it's probably a really high percentage of, like, 99%, okay, maybe not that, but like 90% of the time, guys, that project doesn't get done as fast as they thought because for one, they're not a contractor. So now they're dealing with different crews. They're trying to be a contractor in this one project and they learn fast that wearing this hat is not that easy. It's not for the weak. You got to have systems. You got to have the right people. You got to know and have the experience. Because sometimes you might cut a corner, guys, that is not worth it. That you might lose money. That as a contractor, I found spaces where we'll put an egress window in that the investor hadn't even thought of before. And then guess what? Boom, property goes up just by adding that extra window that they weren't even thinking about. So that's one of many ways that hiring a contractor to do everything in that project can benefit you. But uh the crazy thing, because again, don't forget, I'm an investor myself. So the we'll say $7,000 that they were crying about and just saying that too expensive, blah blah blah. They don't get the project done as fast as as fast as somebody like me could have gotten it done for them. So let's say that and these are true stories, guys, like it's happened a few times, unfortunately. Um but the funny thing, and I've also had investors that have called me and apologized like that. And so I love that because one of the things we're going to talk about is accountability. But um, with that being said, I could have gotten the project done in 3 months, we'll say, right? Um, there's different things that could go into that, but let's say 3 months. And again, there's a few true stories here. So by experience, let's say I did say 3 months. And 9 months later, there's some that have been 6 months later, double the time, the project's still not done. After they've already pushed me off, like, hey, no, I found cheaper guys or this, that. Cool, totally understand. And again, I did A or B, right? Gave the money back. So I'm okay. Hey, good luck. Again, I don't wish bad on anybody. And then in those 6 months, guys, in those 9 months, I did 3, 4 of my own projects, and then maybe a couple others. As far as like a full on project, maybe 2, 3 more others for customers, for investors in that 6 to 9 months, right? That the one house is just sitting there, and it's getting stuff done, but it's not fully getting done. And so let's do the math because as an investor, it's all about the numbers, right? So if you're paying a bank, private lender, whatever, however it is that you're handling the business side of it as an investor for that project, let's say that in general, we'll just say it's costing you $2,000 to hold this property, and s- there goes 9 months that have gone by because you told me, the contractor, not to worry about it, that you're gonna figure it out elsewhere. Now you have 6 months in there, right? Six, seven, eight, nine. Yep. So 6 months in there. And again, the project's not done. So I mean, you still have however hours long to get it in the market, get it sold, etc. We're not even counting that, but let's just count the 6 months. What's 6 times 2,000, guys? Right? And unfortunately, and I'm pulling my calculator here because I want to show you guys. Like, right? 12,000. And you were trying to save how much? You were crying about the 7,000, we'll say. Um, and I say crying because this is what people aren't looking at, the bigger picture, the long term. relationship you could build with a contractor, and it goes vice versa, guys, too. Uh, but now you're 12 grand in over budget, when in 3 months it could have been done, right? And that's not counting those initial 3 months. So let's say 2000 times the 9 months in total. I mean, that's 18 grand, guys. So at that point, was it worth it saving the 6 grand, 7 grand that you thought you would save by getting other people? And then that's just paying for the actual structure, the actual real estate. But what about insurance? What about bills, etc.? We're not even adding that up in there. But that unfortunately happens a lot in this business as an investor and then as a contractor. So was it worth it? Right? And again, true stories. Like this has happened a few times. And again, and I've even had investors call me back, which I salute you for that. Like salute, like that's part of learning, right? And accountability and knowing like, hey, you know what, that was my mistake. Like we would have gotten it done in 3 months or 2 months or however long, right? And then not to mention, guys, without the experience of being a contractor, like what mistakes are you also making that's going to cost you more on top of those 18 grand of interest, right? On top of the 20 grand, adding all the bills and stuff in there. um Also, now you became a full-time contractor. Congratulations. I hope you have a truck, because now you might even cut more corners by saying, oh yeah, I'll get the materials, right? And again, we talked about that earlier already. So, is it truly saving you money? The thing is, I've even, because again, I'm an investor myself, so I've even tried to understand it by or understanding the investor side of it, the investor on a deal, and by even asking, "Hey, what's your budget?" And then even trying to make that work and say, "Hey, you know what? Yeah, I can make that work because I'm an investor, guys. I totally get it." But be mindful of that. It takes a lot to wear a hat. And then also, uh, there's certain things that you worry about that have nothing to do with anything. You might be worried about a drip of paint, which totally get it, right? Like um, it's fixable. And so don't make this big old scene about it. Like, hey, like we could fix that. It's okay. Eh, and it just blows my mind, guys, because half of the things that we think about, that we fear, that we get mad at, don't even happen. Did you guys know that I want to say like 80% of the things that we think about that are negative, that we're constantly thinking about, don't even happen in real life. I've seen this over and over with investors where they'll bring a scenario like, whoa, this is not gonna do this, or the city is gonna say this or that, and it doesn't even happen. The crazy thing is, as an investor, uh there's less stress whenever I do my own stuff, and all those imaginary stuff don't happen. Now, there are definitely a lot of codes and different things that as a contractor we have to make sure. But when it's little things that we know for a fact has nothing to do with it, and even like, let's say and I don't know, I'm just making this up, but let's say that you use casing for, maybe you have some leftover casing and you put it in a office room in the basement, right? Like and you use it as trim. Well, it, it there's people that will make a big deal out of that, and then there's people like, it'll look fine, like we're gonna finish it, caulk it, right, paint it, all that good stuff, and you can't even tell. Now, that's another funny thing, is like there is a difference, guys. There's a lot of terms like casing, trim, two different things. But anyways, the point is that And that I'm just like making this scenario up, but there's certain things like that that people make this big deal, and when it comes down to selling the property, nothing happens. Like, um, so again, just be mindful of that when you're dealing with contractors.
We'll be right
Before
back.
we continue,
Go subscribe to Billy the Kid YouTube.
that is Billy, DHAKID.
Also, go follow Billy the Kid Music on Spotify
Pandora, Apple Music.
and everywhere else.
Music is available.
And now, back to this great episode. Let's go.
Hopping out the two, though, we're number 2, foe. Feel like Kobe, though I'm winning, need to do more. My mama sorry, college wasn't for me. Street smart, no degree, just like Kobe. Self-made boss with a suit like a mogul. I'm the new era, you see it on my logo.
To kind of wrap things up, guys, and if you have any questions, like make sure that you message me, any comments, just let me know. But again, I'm just putting my contractor hat on this episode and just kind of letting you guys know. I hope this helps the contractor. I hope this helps the investor, the customer out there. It's so crazy. There's customers that are willing to pay the real money. So here's the crazy thing. Like, if you are trying to discount a certain proposal, you know what? It's gotten to the point where I'll even tell you straight up, like, hey, like if you want the flooring done by my floor crew, this is the price, right? But if you want the flooring done by my everyday guy that kind of fills in, picks up, right? Like fills in, know a little bit about everything. Like that's the thing. Like I'll tell the customer, I can have him do it way cheaper for you. You choose. And so it's crazy because customers that are not investors, they're just everyday Mary Joe, right? Like they just pay the contractor because they care about quality. Meanwhile, investors, they want quality, but like honestly, guys, like I've tried very hard to be investor friendly, but it is hard. It is hard to be investor friendly. I have a lot of great investors that I do work for that have been successful, and then again, there's been a few stories like the ones that I've shared today that happen, and that's just part of business. But again, I'm an investor, so I totally get it. But then I'm investing myself, so I have yet to encounter the problem that that investor was making, right? Or like I said earlier, those 9 months that they took to finish that deal, was it worth it when we could have done it in 3 months? In those 9 months, I did, like I said, 2, 3 projects of my own, 2, 3 projects of other investors, and not to mention kind of the smaller jobs, right? Like not, and when I say 2, 3 projects, I'm talking about a flip, like a full or a rental that has to be fully remodeled. So I mean, I've done 6 different ones, and you as an investor who didn't want to keep going with my company can't even finish the one, and so you could have saved 20 grand plus, right? But um, it's just crazy. So you know, our our marketing is on that side of things where the customers, right, homeowners. But like I said, we have a lot of amazing, and shout out to every single agent out there, investor locally that has given us that we continue to do things together. I truly appreciate it. Again, nothing's perfect, and the funny thing is, again, there's been also other investors that maybe left, right, and then come back apologizing, just tell me, hey, you know what, like I maybe it was a lack of experience too, guys. That's another thing. Like when investors don't know what certain things cost, they look at you crazy, and then they go find out that, oh shoot, you were actually not too far out. You were actually way less. But as an investor, I totally get it. So, but it's just crazy. There's times where you'll do one thing for a client, right? Like I was saying earlier, Mary Joe, hire you to put an exterior door or an egress window, we'll say, and that egress window paid you more than what an investor wants to pay you for a full remodel. And that's just crappy, man. But and I want you guys to look at the long term of things, guys. Like, is this deal uh like, what if you form a relationship with the investor and then with the contractor, vice versa, right? And you make some good money together in the long term, right? So let's say, yeah, you end up paying 2, 3, 4, 5 grand more, whatever it is, but you still made money, right? Like at the end, and then on top of that, there's 50 years ahead of success and prosperity working together. Um, but uh, I just wanted to give you guys those pointers. And again, remember all the material stuff, like do it with a smile when you go 10 times to the store to go look for that one screw, right? Like it's bound to happen. So just be mindful of that when you try to do that. But I came up with 5 points, guys, as a contractor to hopefully again help you if you want to become a contractor and if you're an investor or slash customer with a contractor. So the first one's very simple: treat these people like human, both sides. We are human. We are trying to do the best that we can. And just be mindful of that. Like, guys, it doesn't take much to be kind. And also, if you want this room painted, we'll say, like, just know that and the thing is, guys, like, you're paying for the experience when it comes to new era construction. Like, we could do a professional painted bedroom or living room or whatever ASAP, right? Like couple hours. But it's the experience. Now sometimes things come up. And if things come up, guess what? They y- you have to be mindful that they're not robots. Contractors, the workers, subs, like they're not robots. Just don't forget that they can't just push a button and have it be done. Like, it takes time. Number two, guys, take accountability. We talked about that earlier. Take accountability as a contractor when you mess up. Like, guys, I am more than happy, and I do this with my guys. Like, if I did something wrong, like I'll tell my guys, hey, that is my fault. Like, and it could be something simple, it could be something a little bigger. Take accountability. Uh, as an investor, do the same. As a contractor, do the same. And when you start taking accountability, the sad thing, guys, is nowadays people are not used to accountability. That's what's sad. Most people are ready to point the finger and let people know that whose fault it is, right? Number three, guys, play your position and don't be a control freak. Play your position. Back up. If you're the investor, just back up. Otherwise, again, are you trying to be a contractor at that point? Because if you are, then why are you hiring contractors? And that's fine too. Just know it takes a lot to wear this hat. And again, I love it. I'm doing it because I love it. If I were to be honest with you, I don't have to do it. Thank God. Like, I am an investor. It's funny. A lot of in the local scene, at least, people forget, or I don't know, but I'm an investor, guys. Like, I'm an investor first, matter of fact. And that's where my experience comes from as a contractor. But I love doing it. I love being a contractor. Again, it's art to me, just seeing these before and afters and all that. But number four, if the person is yelling, angry, there's a bigger issue. It's not just the little scratch or the broken window or whatever mistake it is or error that happened that can be fixed. Here's the thing: everything has a fix, guys, in this world, in this investing world, in this business world. Is it going to take a little more money? Yeah, but everything has a fix. That's the thing. And just remember that if somebody's yelling like that and all that, there's a bigger issue. There that could be trauma. Like there there's a way bigger issue if you're making that big old scene and big old deal about that. And then number 5 is pay them well. You guessed it. Pay contractors well, guys. Bonuses. You treat them well, guys. They're gonna want to make you money. Like we want you to be successful because when you're successful, our company is successful. So, and the thing is, there's a lot of decisions that, guys, it could be as simple as the right color, like that the right paint color. Like it could be as simple as that, and that's why maybe this flip or rental or whatever it is not moving, is not getting sold. Um, there's been instances where I'll tell the investor straight up, like, hey, I don't think this house is gonna sell if you don't do this X or Y, right? Like whatever it is. And unfortunately, guys, it's happened a few times where what I said happened. That comes from experience. And again, I don't wish that on anybody, but those are the decisions that you're making that you have to live by, right? Like make your bed, uh you lay in it, right? Like y- that's just the bottom line. So listen to your contractors, guys. Let them be the contractor. And the nice thing with me, guys, is again, you get a little more than just a contractor. I'm an investor, guys. Like, don't forget that I'm an investor first, and that's the bottom line. So I know, uh, and I don't know everything. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I know everything, and no, but I have a lot of experience in real estate when it comes to that. So if that's the route you're trying to go, I'm an investor first. If you hire me as a contractor, then it comes with that with that experience, with the knowledge, with advice that I can give you. And there's certain things, guys, that are not worth spending the money. That there's some investors that will spend the money in the wrong places and not invest it on the others, which is crazy to me. But yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. So I would love to hear your feedback again. Just as a contractor myself, I just wanted to put these out there, and I hope that don't take it the wrong way by any means. Like I hope that this actually helps you become a better investor, become better to your contractors, and vice versa. If you're a contractor, I hope these help, and uh, don't be afraid, guys. Knowing that the thing is, guys, that just put your head down and do the work. That at the end, that's all that matters, and all that other crap of people will talk about you. I mean, every business that I own, including the construction company, real estate, music, you name it, my book, um, every sector, every business, people have opinions. That just comes with it. When you're doing something, that just comes with it. Uh, you're never gonna satisfy everybody, that's for sure. So don't beat yourself up for it. Again, most people have bigger issues that they're dealing with, and they're taking it out on you. Uh, the thing is, guys, that this is a very stressful business already. And I'll be honest with you, I trust me. Yeah, there's days, but I don't take it out on anybody. But I'm happy, guys. I love what I do. So I don't deal with stress. Like it's funny that that's the number one thing that I tell people, like, in the past, like if I've done a couple partnerships here and there, like I'll tell them straight up, like, hey man, I'm not gonna stress over this. Um Now it doesn't mean that I'm not gonna get it done. Like those of you who have done stuff with me, like we get things done. That's the thing. Again, nobody can tell me that I owe them money, or nobody can tell me that we don't get things done. You might hear opinions, right? Like again, uh, nothing's perfect, but I know we strive for quality, and a lot of times it is the cheapest customers, it is the cheapest investors that will have those opinions. Um, but sadly, there's been a few instances where it just doesn't work out. And then the nice thing is that there's been a few instances too where they've called me back and just apologize, and that's fine. Everybody makes mistakes, like with all the pointers that I give out. But enough of that, guys. Let me know what you guys thought of this podcast. I just wanted to quickly do this, but it turned out to be however long, but it is what it is. Make sure you guys subscribe to my podcast, guys, for more content about this type of stuff, real estate, construction, all the stuff that I do. I'm a musician, an artist, I'm a coach. Shout out to all the Get Uncomfortable, everybody in the Get Uncomfortable Mastermind, all the uncomfortables. Um, it's also a blessing to be getting booked for some speaking engagements. But any questions, guys, feel free to reach out. info@billythekid.com. Make sure you guys subscribe to the $1 Million Hustle podcast. Hope these 5 pieces of advice, these 5 nugs help you guys. I told you guys some stories that were based off of these 5 points. But make sure that you guys go to neweraconstructionllc.net and book us for an estimate, guys. And anything else that you guys need, whether it's just one small piece of thing, or maybe you want a full remodel for the whole house, or just a kitchen remodel, bathroom, neweraconstructionllc.net. From concrete to roofing, and everything in between. Literally, we can help you guys. So go and get your estimate. But I will see you guys on the next episode, baby. Vamonos.
Close-minded people mad at me that I'm speaking facts. Or maybe could it be that I'm getting racks? Open your mind, gotta open it to receive. I'm always 10 toes for what I believe. Close-minded people mad at me that I'm speaking facts. Or maybe could it be that I'm getting racks? Open your mind, gotta open it to receive. I'm always 10 toes for what I believe.